Hello, Happy New Year, and welcome to that Deacon on YouTube. I think it would be safe to say that prior to 2003, many Episcopalians had no idea what the Anglican Communion was or what they did. In fact, today, I would guess that people still don't know what they do and what function this body performs. Here's what the internet says.
The Anglican Communion is a global group of Protestant churches in communion with the Archbishop of Canterbury, who serves as a unifying figure, but has no direct authority over the member churches.
Prior to 2003, the bishops would fly to Canterbury every 10 years to sit down with the Archbishop of Canterbury to discuss church and world affairs. It was an informal gathering. The bishops spent hours writing resolutions which are not legally binding. Oh, and the British monarch would have them over for tea. Then, in 2003, the Episcopal Church was rocked with their first gay bishop from New Hampshire, which started a wave of breakaway parishes in the USA, and then the rumble of conservative churches from Africa formed the Global South Fellowship of Anglican Churches. Remember what I said about no authority and no legally binding resolutions? Well, this was not good enough. So one group wanted the Archbishop to reprimand the Episcopal Church and kick it out of the communion. Then, a few years later, we did it again. We elected a female presiding bishop, and the same thing happened. More outrage by the Anglican churches. So they started to gather together and form a new communion. So, with a gay bishop not invited to the Lambeth Conference, a straight female presiding bishop of the Episcopal Church presented problems, and the good old passive-aggressive answer from the UK was to forbid the presiding bishop from wearing a mitre. Now, in 2026, it was announced that the Archbishop of Canterbury is a female.
Born in 1962, the Right Reverend and Right Honourable Dame Sarah Mullally DBE is one of 4 children with 2 sisters and 1 brother. She attended Winston Churchill Comprehensive School and Woking Sixth Form College. Bishop Sarah was educated at Southbank Polytechnic and Haythrop College, University of London. Before being ordained, she worked as a nurse in the National Health Service, which she has described as an opportunity to reflect the love of God. She specialised as a cancer nurse and became a ward sister at Westminster Hospital. While working as the Chief Nursing Officer for England, she discerned a call to ordination and entered training ministry at the South East Institute for Theological Education. She was ordained in 2001. On 12 May 2018, Bishop Sarah was installed as the 133rd Bishop of London at St. Paul's Cathedral, the first woman to hold the role. As Bishop of London, Bishop Sarah has spoken regularly of enabling every Londoner to encounter the love of God in Christ. Bishop Sarah led the Church of England's Living in Love and Faith process from 2020 to 2023. This included the formative stages of discernment and decision-making, which saw the introduction of the prayers of love and faith for same-sex couples. The installation of the 106th Archbishop of Canterbury, Sarah Mullally, will take place at Canterbury Cathedral on Wednesday, 25 March 2026, the Feast of the Annunciation.
And as expected, the Global South and breakaway churches reacted to the news in a predictable manner, executing a high church chizzy. This form of ecclesiastical food fight is very silly. Now, back in 2003, the dean of a local seminary held a forum about the ruckus involving what was now called the Global South. She said that the reason that these churches were conservative is that they were a product of Victorian missionaries who had zeal but were simplistic in their understanding of the Bible and church dynamics and paradoxes. She said that in England, people wanted to bring Christianity to Africa, but they were really very vocal about it. The church in the UK raised money to let missionaries do their thing, not because the church recognized their calling. It was a way to shut them up. And more importantly, these people were no longer at the rector's church on Sunday. I don't think this response was fair, suggesting that people who remained home were better biblical students, and the dean's thoughts were a good guess. But I think she missed the real overpowering reason that this was not so much biblical, but historical and social. Africa was a pawn of colonialism, and colonialism was not so much about Africa. It was about making people act like colonists. The Church of England has a hold on the realm of Anglican churches as still belonging to the British Empire. Once again, Canterbury was using its power of first among equals to slap the wrists of the Episcopal Church, but not kick them out of the communion. And then the Church of England let it be known that polygamy was still rampant in some African churches. It seems that this was not a theological disagreement, but a part of African culture. I think what we have here from 2003 to the present are two factors. One is colonialism, and the other is patriarchy. Not too long ago, I looked up the Anglican Communion and the countries that are a part of the British Commonwealth of Nations. And what did I find? All of the nations listed in the Commonwealth are a part of the Anglican Communion. I can't get out of my mind that institutions in the UK can't let go of their formal empire, and that the West still wants to dictate policy for their own good, and that the Church of England has, in my opinion, continues harboring condescending institutional superiority, not so much in words, but in spiritual DNA. Now, I think the Episcopal breakaway churches leaves it up to the diocese to ordain women priests, but no female can be elected bishop. It used to be that all women were banned from the priesthood. So you see, it took about 400 years for our church to ordain women. It took 8 years for ACNA to ordain women on an individual basis. So much for their historical expression of faith. But what we must be aware of is the stain of institutional hubris. And now there is a female Archbishop of Canterbury. And now the Anglican network once again is in revolt. The Global South says they are now not aligned with the Church of England. So be it. We should wish them well, and that's it. We should not slam the door, but keep it open. And as they mature in faith, we can welcome them back. But until then, we can continue to see Christ in every person, as all are welcome to the table, and as I have been known to say, because that's what love does.